Welcome, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Decoded, where we demystify those holistic practices that and tools that allow us to live a better life and one of more resonant with our inner guidance. And today, I'm incredibly blessed to have the most wonderful intuition teacher, Kim Chestney. Kim is the author of three books. All three are absolutely fantastic and a worldwide recognized intuition teacher. And I'm very, very happy to have her here with us. So, welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Neysha, so much for having me back. It's always great talking with you. We always have the best conversations. So I'm excited to see what we're going to unpack today.
Awesome. 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 Well, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about intuition. And a lot of people often, especially in the world that we both come from, the world of corporate America, we dismiss intuition as something that cannot be trusted, or something that is not reliable. In your own words, if you were going to decode intuition, how would you describe it?
Well, to me, intuition, I think, is not at all what people think it is. And unfortunately, I think it would be great if we had a new term for it. But I think the reality of intuition is it's not this woo-woo thing that we've been told. It's not like just something that just women have. It's really just the complementary version of thinking to your rational intellectual mind. So, we have two hemispheres. One hemisphere works intellectually, rationally. The other one works intuitively. And we've been taught to develop one side of our brain and sort of, dismiss the other side of our brain, which now we're understanding that this other side of our brain does magical things. In the old days, all of these things we thought they were impossible. The things that we could do with the creative, intuitive genius side of our brain, the only place we really saw them in everyday life were in the arts and creativity. We could see that, right? But the reality is there's something much deeper that when you go into intuition, it actually touches into an experience that goes beyond this reality. And it's like our intellectual mind is designed to process information from this world here in this reality, but our intuitive mind goes deep within to the quantum reality that is within that reality. So it is a sort of quantum intelligence. We have Newtonian intelligence, which is our left brain thinking mind, and then we have quantum intelligence, which is our right brain thinking mind. And both of them, when we work together, we have the ability to cultivate genius and magical things and experience impossible things. So it's really just a complementary version of thinking that has atrophied that we can actually develop and really do so many powerful things that we never thought we could do.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You describe intuition as this inherent form of intelligence. For people that are still in the fence, whether we have it or not, how would you encourage them to tap into that to inform their decision making, or like you said, their art or whatever that is?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is really to do some understanding, to educate yourself about what intuition really is. So the first barrier we have is everyone has these sort of preconceptions based on the conditionings that we've had in society. Yeah. Intuition's not real. It's a cult. It's dangerous. If it is real, it's satanic. It's like, right. It's just what crazy women have, right? There's just all of this programming that we've had around it. It's kind of like aliens. It was like, oh, it's just, you're so crazy if you believe in aliens. Well, guess what? Turns out aliens are real, right? So yes. Same thing with intuition. So we really have to deprogram our understanding of intuition so that we can actually open our minds to what it is. And then once we actually start to learn that it is this kind of quantum intelligence that works through the quantum field that is all around us, within us. This is scientific fact now. The world will be catching up to this eventually. People just need to understand how the world works. And 200 years ago, all of this stuff was called occult and supernatural because it was supernatural to the Newtonian world. Intuition follows the laws of the quantum universe, not the laws of the physical universe that we live in every day. So impossible things happen. So when you think of a friend and 2 seconds later they call you on the phone, you're like, oh, what a coincidence. Well, guess what? That wasn't a coincidence. We live in a universe that's completely interconnected by the quantum field, and all of our thoughts are connected. All of our energy is connected. So your friend's thinking of you. There's a part of you that's pinged. Sometimes that's conscious, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you don't always receive it, but when you receive that and then they call, that's proof of intuition. That's proof of the field. And I go on and on in my book about the many examples that everyday people have all the time. When you're driving a car and you look over and you're looking at someone and they just happen to turn and look at you for no reason. That was it. That's the quantum field. The consciousness is touching and interacting. So it's there in these subtle little ways. But it's also there these really profound ways that help us to guide and learn and understand our life, to go beyond the future and this moment in time into the future, to understand our past in deeper ways, because time is completely different in the quantum world too. So it's this whole magical world that's opened up to us, that's open and accessible only to our intuition. So we can start to develop that first by learning to understand it, and getting rid of our predispositions towards it, and then experiencing it for ourselves. All of my books are practice books. Don't take it from me. I tell people, go out and just start playing with your intuition. Go into meditation, try some of these exercises, work with cards, and then you start to see these things and experience them yourself, and you can't deny it anymore. So everyone that believes in intuition believes in it because they've had experiences that they can't deny, and everyone can have those experiences.
I absolutely love that. There's so many golden nuggets that you have thrown in this answer. And very interestingly, the most important to me is all of everything that it was considered the woo-woo, the occult, the everything that you said is now being proven by science. On a daily basis, more things are coming through. So I would just say, get curious. If you don't know how to
Yes,
break those conceptions, just get curious
yes,
and
100%.
start there. And start with Kim's book, with the three are fantastic. Kim also have a wonderful intuition school that you can join and learn to get back in touch with that. What has been the biggest aha moment that you see when people start to tap in your intuition, knowing that you have thousands and thousands of students all over the world? What has been one of the biggest or two of the biggest aha moments from some of your students when they start to tap into that wonderful world of intuition?
Yeah, for me, hands down, it hasn't even just been one. It has been a series. There's really kind of two big things that I think it has proved things to people. One has been when we do partner work. So, and everybody can do this. You can do this with a friend home when you practice your intuition with someone else and you get things for each other that there's no way you could have known. And when you have that hit, like, oh my gosh, like I had this, I don't know why I said this, but I just said it. Turns out it's something really meaningful. So when you have that little validation that you actually knew something you couldn't do, I see that all the time. So one of the things I always tell people, practice with other people. That's the best way to get validation of your intuition. That way you know you're not making it up. You know, when we do it ourselves, that's the whole point. We want to be able to live our life by our intuition, but sometimes we doubt our intuition because we think, oh, it's just our imagination or it's just my own thoughts, right? So it's hard to kind of, it takes time to differentiate all those voices in your head. And when you work with another person, it gives you the ability to kind of hone that so you know what your true intuition feels like. But the big things that have really proved intuition to people, one has been remote viewing. We do remote viewing in my classes and literally everyone can do it. Blows their mind. Can't
That's
believe they could do
amazing.
it. They all do it. The other thing is spoon bending. We did spoon bending with the College of Psychic Studies the other week, and we had a huge class, and nobody believed they could do it. And I mean, that's very intuitive because you have to use your intuition to put your energy into the spoon. You gotta use your intuition to know when the spoon's ready to bend, and you bend the spoon, and it's amazing. People, that's really great because
Amazing.
people see a real thing, right? It's not woo woo. It's just science. You're just transferring energy intentionally. It's not a crazy thing at all. Everybody can do it. Little kids. I had little kids doing it. It's fun. Okay, so, but that shows people what they're capable of. And then the biggest thing ultimately for me that's touched me personally in my life is when I started Intuition Lab, I started a past life project because I was curious about past lives to see if they were real, to see how, what my past lives were, so I would test my students. All of the certification students to graduate would have to do a past life reading on me. And so I've been doing that for 10 years and I have like a whole catalog of these past lives. And what has come through has been recurring things time after time after time again, the same people saying the same thing. So there's like five lives that people keep referencing. And then I put the people together and they talk about it. They're like, oh, they're both saying the same thing. They don't even know each other. So these things are impossible, right? These
Yeah.
are just some of the many impossible things. And the synchronicities, I give people tokens and they'll have the same students every year pick the first token. There's all these weird patterns and these amazing synchronicities that prove that there's something meaningful happening. So there's just so much magic when you start to work with your intuition. The quantum world is magic. And there's a great meme out there that says, basically the Newtonian physics, science has spent the last 100 years telling us that there's no such thing as magic. And then the quantum revolution came and told us that basically everything's magic. And,
Magic, I
and
love
that's,
it.
that's the truth.
I love it. I love it. I love these examples that you have provided here. For people in the corporate world who are very analytical, very data driven, the most famous saying in corporate America is "In God we trust, everybody else bring me data."
I love it.
What advantages can they find when they develop their intuition?
Yeah, and that's the thing people need to understand about intuition. It's not just something that's just for spirituality or like playing with tarot cards or to know your future. That's just like one little piece of it. Intuition applies to everything in our life. And when you develop your intuition, you do everything better, including your relationships, your job, your everything. So when it comes to work, and we really started to realize this when I was working in the tech industry before I started writing full time and teaching, we really started to realize that intuition is this secret sauce to success. It's the key to innovation. It's the key to doing things differently. With our everyday minds, we follow the world, we learn from other people. With our intuition, we come up with these ideas ourselves. We come up with new ideas. Like this is the stuff AI can't do.
Yeah.
Our everyday thinking mind is just getting decimated by AI, right? We don't have a chance against AI with that. But with our creative, intuitive, quantum intelligence mind, that's the area that AI can't touch. That's the innovation, the new growth, the new ideas, the expansion, the connection, the unity, all of these things. It's part of this dynamic of this way of thinking. So ultimately, when we, in business, when we embrace that way of thinking, we become better leaders. We become better innovators. We become more creative. We have more empathy. We're able to relate to each other. So it's so important with leadership and with, building your teams and actually, really getting aligned for the right growth of your company. When you're doing that intuitively, you're following your path. You're not emulating what this company did or that company did or trying to be something else. And that's key because then you're just a follower. You're not an innovator. You're not a creator, right? So we want to do that. Intuition is the engine that runs that.
And I love that. And for everyone listening, more and more we're seeing example of incredibly successful CEOs tapping into that intuition. Examples are Steve Jobs talk about intuition. Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spanx and Sneaks, talks about intuition. So love that example and that background
I
that you
think any
gave.
great CEO will talk about intuition. If they're truly a great CEO, it's to me become like a quality, recognizing that is a quality of good leadership and really having the ability to drive a company to an exceptional place. So, we've heard about these, like Steve Jobs was one of the first people really to do it. Like he went all in on intuition. He was, you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
knew it and he really set the stage for a lot of people to follow that. And now we start to realize you're not even going to really be truly successful if you don't have that ability. It's going to be a requirement, a job requirement for leadership, to be a true successful person. I mean, you can get promoted and be a CEO, but you're not going to be a good one if you can't use your intuition, if you can't follow that new untrodden path that you're leading your team.
I love that. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Especially in these times where technology is advancing, all of us have that differentiator that can actually make us succeed. We talk a little bit about this, but if how would you recommend people, other than reading your books, going to your school, how would you recommend people to just test if they even have intuition, because I bet some people are saying, yeah, I get it, but I don't have that.
Well, they're wrong because everybody has it. It's like saying you don't have a thinking brain. You have it. We all have it. We're wired for it. It's part of us. Some people just are a little bit more gifted at it. It's like, some people are good at math when they're born. Some people are
Yeah,
good at intuition. It's just one of the outlets of our mind that some people are better than others at, but everybody has it. We can all do math. Might not like it, might not be our thing, but we can all do it, right? Not everybody's going to love being intuitive. Not everybody's wired to make that the center of their life, but they're
yeah,
still going to have basic abilities, right? Just like we can learn geometry and things like that. So, I mean, to really start this into your intuition, the key is really what, Google and a lot of tech companies started doing this many years ago, is creating more white space on your calendar. I always say, do
I love
nothing
it.
like it's your job. One of the things you need to do is you can't be on that hamster wheel producing, doing, doing, doing. You need that time to ideate. You need that time to come up with new ideas, to regroup, to open up, to let those epiphanies, those bright ideas pop in your head. That's intuition, right? So I think it was Google that was doing like no meetings Fridays. So then every Friday you were just supposed to like have like quiet time and have like creative time to encourage and foster that side of your brain. And I think, what we find is that when we have more of that time, we spend our time better, because you never are going to get an intuitive idea while you're sitting here staring with your little mouse, staring at your computer screen, or like this, no, there's no intuition there. It's you're locked in with your thinking mind. And when you're in that state, your intuition can't get through. The intuition comes through in that state of relaxation. You don't have to sit on a mountaintop and meditate. You can just be where you are. You can go for a walk, clear your head. You can, how many times have you gotten great ideas just listening to music, driving in the car, or
Yes.
in the shower, getting ready for work? That's where all these things, this magic happens. And that's what Einstein said. He called it being aimless. Spend more time being aimless. Stop locking in. When your mind's locked in on stuff, it can't receive intuition. So you got to open up, chill out, spend more of that time in that white space zone. That allows your intuition, those ideas to drop in. And notice, key, and this is the key, those ideas, those thoughts that come in out of nowhere, that arise in your head out of nowhere, you're not thinking them up, you're not processing them. Remember, the left brain mind processes. It's an
Yeah.
information processor. We process data from around the world around us. We process data from our input and our experiences. This brain over here, our intuitive brain, it receives, right? It receives from the deep dimension, the quantum world, the information that's happening invisibly all around us. Okay, so it's a
I
different
love it.
kind of information process. It shows up out of nowhere, arrives in a flash, all of a sudden. It's so easy. Intuition is the easiest way to think. With our information processing mind, it takes, we got to work at it. We got to figure it out. Intuition comes in a flash. It's that gift. It's that moment of genius. And that's why Einstein was one of the people that was so outspoken about intuition, because he said he'd get the solutions to his problems. He'd wake up in the middle of the night. It would just pop into his head, because he was in that aimless state where he wasn't locked in. He wasn't thinking. Popped in. It just arrives. The answers come. The truth comes. The information, it comes. It's that easy. So it's as simple as opening up, and you create more of that space. You're going to get more of those insights. And that's the key. The word I like to use when it comes to business is insight, right? Because, intuition has baggage, but what we're really talking about is insight. Is leading a company insightfully, leading a team insightfully from this inner directive that is aligned with the bigger picture that we can't see from our little myopic point of view.
Love that. I absolutely
Sorry,
love
I
that.
get fired up about this stuff. So
And
you
I
can't turn me off once I get
And
started.
I am totally here for that firing up. I love it. It's so interesting because I always have told, whenever I was in corporate America, I told my teams, I need you to volunteer in something that is fun for you. Because
Mm.
in that unhooking, I told them that they were creating the shower effect, where all of those ideas started to come because we were thinking about something else and not battling the same problem.
The in the
uh,
shower effect. I like that.
so I absolutely love what you're saying. In your own life, can you point to a moment where your intuition led you to something that you would have never gotten into analytically and just by following the dots?
Well, my entire career in technology, I was an artist. I have a degree in oil painting. I never in a million years thought I would end up in tech. And for a long time, I was kind of resentful of it because it was, I had an amazing job. I was doing really cool things. I got, even when I was working with the arts, I loved working in the arts. It was such a great arts and technology initiative working together. Always been like my mission's always been like bringing the two sides of the brain together in one way or another, but I never would have seen myself going that way. And I think from a very young age just wanted to be working with intuition, researching intuition, and I didn't realize that I was actually doing that when I was working in arts and technology. And I would,
Interesting.
when you're young, you think, oh, like I want to grow up and do this, and I want to write books, and I want to, or be an author, or be a teacher, but you got to put food on the table, or be an oil painter for, I wanted to do art too. So, but I had to put food on the table, and the universe led me into this really beautiful career in creative technologies. And I ended up doing something that no one's ever done before. And I never would have aspired to do it. I never thought about it, never planned it. I just followed my intuition. I cooked all that stuff up and became really this known worldwide for what we were doing in Pittsburgh, with Carnegie Mellon University and the Create Festival. I mean, it was really some unprecedented work we did bringing these two communities together. And it was all really focused around applied intuition. And I didn't get that, right?
Yeah.
Because I just knew what I thought I wanted. So life took me where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And it really gave me an understanding of intuition that I never would have had I not gone that route. So I think, the lesson is that we always have to trust where we're being taken, even if it's not where we think we should be going, because the bigger picture, your higher self, the universe, whatever word you want to use for that, it knows what you need and will give you what you need, whether you realize it or not, but you probably will in hindsight.
Yes, yes, and whether you want consciously to do it or not, it always guides you towards the highest good for everyone involved. I
Yes.
absolutely firm believer on that. Kim, if someone wants to find you, your books, your courses, how can they find you?
Oh yeah, I'm on the internet everywhere at kimchestney.com. I have a free email series to help you start developing your intuition. It's not a promotional email series. I send out weekly card pulls, weekly exercises. So if you want to start taking those first steps, you can just go to my website, sign up for anything. You'll get on my list. I also have my school Intuition Lab, which is intuition-lab.com. And we have all kinds of on-demand trainings and practices that you can download and start practicing right now.
That is fantastic, Kim. For everyone, I'm going to go ahead and put all of that information in the description so that you can go ahead and click and get a smidge of all the wisdom that Kim carries within her. I encourage you to get her books and sign up for some of her classes, which are absolutely amazing. Kim, thank you so, so much for being here and giving us a little bit of a preview of all the wonders and magics that you hold within.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Neysha. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye bye.